2022 Mahindra Roxor. This should be the same pretty much on the 2018s and above. I do want to take a quick pause and say thank y'all for subscribing to the channel. I've had a lot more views than I expected. To be honest, I was just planning on doing a video or two about this vehicle since there wasn't a lot out there on a few key points, but I seem to have a few subscribers and a lot of views, so I might pop a few more of these out. Again, I do want to say thank you. I do want to do a shout out to Sprawl, my boy down in Georgia, one of my Xbox buddies I play a lot with. Him and his daddy's on the fence about getting one of these. I just want to, hopefully he keeps watching these videos and convinces him to pick one up used. I know the new one's gotten a little expensive and I can understand that, so here we go back to the video. Now, I don't want to say this is an EGR delete. Parentheses, EGR test. Two problems with the EGR valve on the Mahindra Roxor. Obviously, one thing is you're introducing exhaust fumes back into the engine. And again, you're reintroducing exhaust back into the engine. Lose a little horsepower and the soot and everything that goes back into it. It's not a great thing. When I remove it, I will hopefully have a video of kind of how much soot comes out of it. And the other thing on the EGR coolers that we notice on the Mahindra Roxor, a few people have, is you'll top off your water and all of a sudden you're kind of losing it, don't know really where it's going. Everybody that's kind of done this, and I believe they pulled that EGR valve cooler off, which is this little device right here. There's some cooling lines going to it. Here's the one of them here, and there's one of them there that leaves. There's some internal lines going through it, and when they've removed them, you've noticed a little water setting in there. Obviously, that water literally gets sucked into your engine. So, one of the other reasons to test this. Now, what we've got here is not much to do with. We got some test fittings here. I picked these up from, I believe, On the Rocks. It does have a port in the middle that I'm gonna plug for now, but it gives you the option to plug in anything you need later to check any exhaust or anything like that. Got these to kind of shut off the water lines. A lot of people drain and freeze, about a gallon of it out, and it seems to be pretty much what you need, but I'm gonna use them shut off lines. It's usually just a little bit will be left in there, and that kind of takes care of it. Should be pretty simple. Now the idea is going to be, you pretty much, if you can see this, normally you'd remove the EGR valve. I will be putting that back. And then also the EGR valve cooler, and also this down pipe that takes you back to the exhaust manifold. The reason I will be leaving my EGR valve in place, I will be removing it and putting a plate in between this area. What that's going to allow me to do, hopefully the computer will still have it plugged in, the sensor, until I can get it tuned. That will kind of leave it plugged in, and hopefully the computer will see it and be happy and will not throw any check engine lights. That should take care of it. Also, on the back of the alternator, you'll have one of these gray lines going down to the back of the alternator right there. Now, I believe that's the vacuum pump on the alternator. And a lot of diesels that don't create a lot of vacuum, so what ends up happening is you end up putting a vacuum pump on it. On this one, it supplies, it looks like, just for the brakes and also the vacuum for the EGR valve. So, looks like to me, from the videos I've seen, you can remove that on the alternator, but you must put a plug on it so you can keep that vacuum going to the brake booster. Also, a lot of this could be removed. That solenoid, I'll probably keep that in place. And also this little vacuum storage tank, I'm assuming. I'll probably remove that. So it will clean this engine bay up quite a bit, having that removed. But I'll go ahead and have that removed, and I'll have a quick video in the part 2 of this showing what it looks like afterwards. I don't want to do a detailed removal and install. I think it's pretty simple once you look at this, kind of what bolts in and how to remove it. But I just want to do a kind of an overview of it, and kind of once I put it back together, what it looks like, how clean it is, and hopefully driving it will not throw a check engine light until I can get it tuned. And like I said, the other thing is I will use these little shut-offs just to help with the water. And the other thing is, since this is an EGR cooler on this, with my heater system on here from the factory, this would be more what I would call a bypass valve, I guess, meaning that even when you shut the heat off, you still have water coming through that valve to keep that EGR valve cool. Now, once I remove that, I'll probably just go ahead and jump this line out here. Down the road, just to make it neater, I'll probably remove this diverter valve and just put a single line in here and have that line coming back. So it's just 2 lines with a little single valve in one line without having that big valve just sitting over the valve cover. It's no big deal whether it's there, but smaller, less leaks, easier it is. So that's pretty much it for now. So I will be back shortly after I removed this and hooked everything back up and let y'all know how it goes. I appreciate you watching. Thank you.